Hi everyone, how are you doing? Happy Saturday. Hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. This is Petal. As you know, we are a channel that supports the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby Lily, Mama Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome! Welcome to our book club. I hope that everyone has had a chance to read it. I hope everyone has had, whether you're reading it or you're listening to it or however it is you're getting all of it. I hope that, I'm assuming by now the majority of us have at least gotten through 75% of it, and a lot of us have read it. Some of us who are speed readers have read it 2 and 3 times. I am not one of those people. I am a person that I read slowly because sometimes I go back and I think of things and I go back and reread. And so I'm one of those slow readers. And so, yes, I'm done reading it, and it's been amazing. And so I love the fact that we can have a little book club called, as you can see, the 2 Cents Book Club, because it's all of our 2 cents worth of it, stuff that we're talking about. Or everybody giving their 2 cents. And so, welcome to a, Facts and 2 Cents, 2 Cents Book Club. And, I am so happy that we can have this little time. As you can, if you're on and you're regularly on our live chat, as you know that right now for the first 45 minutes of it, where it's going to the live chat is open to our 2 Cents crew members, and then after that we'll open it up to everyone so that everyone could participate. But everybody get a chance to listen. But the live chat right now, it's going to be for our 2 Cents crew members who are participating in our book club. And I'm hoping that lots of us will call in. Please call in. What my goal is that we can have a little bit of a round table. Never done it before, so we'll sort of muddle through that and see how how we could do like a round table. But what we want to do is a bit of a review about what you think about all the things that that you've read, and what you thought so far. Everybody has like different idea of what their through line is for the book, like the overriding message or the overriding thing you got from the book. And I'd love to hear that from you. Like, what is that overriding thing for you? What are the things you love the most? What are the things you didn't really like so much? Are there things that shocked you? Are there things that made you like, wow, I didn't know this is so exciting? Or are there things that were disappointing, like, oh, I didn't know, or you have thoughts of, for example, one of the things that's very interesting to me is, for example, the arc of Prince Charles's relationship with Meghan. It started out one way, and now it's like, oh, how did that happen? You know, and so there are so many things that I thought we can, discuss. So I'm going to throw all of those things out there, and we can talk about it. So, if you're in the chat right now, our 2 Cents crew members are in the chat right now. So please go ahead and call in, and don't have to put your camera on. Please, don't put your camera on. Just want to hear your wonderful voice if you like. So definitely go ahead and call in. And as many of you, 2, 3, 4 of you call in, and we'll give each other, give like 2 minutes each to share, and we can probably do a roundtable thing. And I could try to figure, we can try to figure out how that works. For future book clubs. And so that would be awesome. I just realized that I didn't put the link in the chat. I was like, it would help if I put the link to call in the chat. That would really, really help. So there it is. It's now in the chat. So definitely go ahead and call in, and let's chat about the book. I hope you all, are excited. I know some of our Jamaica squaddies were having problems with it. So hopefully the links that I put in the last couple of episodes, I put links to where you can get it either by Spotify. So if you were able to listen to Megan's podcast on Spotify, you should be able to listen to this there. You can just get it there. You can purchase it there and be able to listen to it there. So hopefully everyone has got that. And yeah, so again, the link is there. And until we get people calling in, I was gonna go through the chat and see, what are your thoughts? What is it, is there something that like really, I'd love to know, what is the thing that you loved most about this book? And also on the flip side, what is the thing that maybe I didn't like so much? I just, again, we're not like, everyone thinks differently about things. And so I'd love to hear all sides of it, what you thought, because again, this is a review. We're reviewing what we think of it. Again, putting our 2 cents in there. So yes, so Kyle, yes, the link, I just put the link in the chat, so it's there. So definitely I'm gonna put it there again, so just in case you didn't get it, so it's there twice. So yeah, definitely call in. So just saying hello to all our friends in the chat. In the meantime, our awesome moderators are here. Lydia, hello Lydia, and our awesome moderator, Church Nelly, and also Karen M, our awesome moderator, Karen M. And who else is in the chat with us? Alma is here. Hello, Alma. And Black Queen is here. Hello, Black Queen. And Bright Eyes BBJ. And Cal Alston is here. And so those are who we have here so far for our 2 cents crew. So hopefully, you guys will call in and we will chat about it. And pretty soon we will, and if that doesn't happen, we'll just open it up to everyone, so we get everyone's, our wider community can join in on the chat and also share as well. But yeah, so I would love to hear from you guys what, some things that really you just love. It's just the thing that stands out for you, that just like, wow. And maybe some things that are like, I don't know that I, like that so much, or I don't know that, I would have wanted to know that. Maybe it was TMI that you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I needed to know that, So that would be, yes, definitely. Let us know that too. Kathy Gabby, hello, Kathy G. How are you? Welcome. Hello, Nanau. How are you? Our wonderful 2 cents crew are coming in. Harry says, Bright Eye says, I love the chapter, Captain of My Soul. What do you love about it, Bright Eyes? I'd love, now that everybody has pretty much read the book, so we're pretty much not giving away anything other than, again, if you haven't read the book and you don't want anything, you don't want to know anything, this would not be the episode for you. Just turn it off and come back after you've read the book, and you can come watch this on replay. So if you haven't read it and you don't want any spoilers, then definitely this is not the episode to be on. So definitely be specific, because again, what about the Captain of My Soul that you love? I'd love to know that. One of the things that I read, it's so much, and a lot of people, their take on it is, the overriding, just overcoming grief. Seems to be a lot of people's, the thing that stands out for them the most, or or things that they love the most is just the battle to overcome. And for me, that's one of the things that really stood out for me too. And the things that I love about the whole book is just the courage and the will to fight. I love that. The will to fight and to overcome the struggles. And so I just think that is fantastic. Oh, two of our wonderful squaddies are here. So now you can turn off your camera. That will be, yep, there you go. And I will get you guys on and we can chat. So I'm going to put you both on and we'll see how that work. And we can give like 2 minutes each to share, like, your thoughts, what you got out, what the things that you love the most about this, and maybe something you don't like. That will be fine too. So both Cal and Nanau, hi guys.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Cal. I can. How about you, Nanau? Are you hearing me? Nanau, are you there?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You could take your mic off, your camera off if you like.
It, okay. All
That's
right. Is that better?
we all have our cameras.
Hello?
So, guys, share with us. Either one of you could start with a couple of minutes. What is something that you really, really, that stuck out for you that you really loved about it?
Well, I listened to it and read the Kindle along with it. And I would just say, first thing I loved was Harry's voice. His narration of his own story was, I think, really powerful. The language
Mm-hmm.
in the book is very lyrical, I would say. And to
Yes.
hear him do it was fantastic. I think, I'm of the age where I watched Diana and Charles's wedding and all those things. And so the first part of the book was, I was crying by the end of it
Mm,
because this, that's how certainly I got to know, quote unquote, Harry, was through his, walk behind the casket and the way that he was treated or not treated by his family during this grieving process was just incredibly tough. I mean, I was
mm-hmm.
I was at William's age when my mom died.
Oh,
It
wow. I'm so sorry.
certainly wasn't in any kind of situation that was as traumatic as his mother's death, but it definitely affected my whole early adult life in a
Right.
way. And so the idea that those two boys were not really given any way of coping was a big part of it. I would say the
Right.
thing that I didn't know, and I obviously being part of the Meghan and Harry followers, the third part was not as unfamiliar. I would say the thing that I knew the least about was part two, his time in the service.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating because I think, again, the way the British press does its thing, they made it ridiculous. And then if you actually read part two, where he talks about his sort of 20s, it's, I think it's amazing that he was able to get as far as got. And I think that's why the veteran stuff matters to him so much, because the
Right.
service really, I think, set him on the best course he could have. And I'll just
Right.
say to close out, because I know I don't want to take up too much airtime, but is that uh, I think he was very, very kind to his father. And I
Mm.
think in part it's because I think it's hard for, I am a double orphan, and I just feel like they don't feel like they have any parents left except for Doria. And
Right.
I think there's a part of him that still wants that, who wants his
Mm-hmm.
father to be the father that he needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking that's why he can't quite throw his father off the boat quite yet.
Right.
Although it seems to me he is a little bit more willing, even though he's not terribly mean. I think William and Kate um, and Camilla, we now know for a fact how wrong those people all are. Anyway, that's what
Yeah.
I would say about the book that I learned through the book.
Oh, okay. No, I think I think you're so on. And then now I am assuming you're having some difficulties. Definitely keep trying if you want to come on, because I see you keep going in and out. So I think you're having some difficulties there. So, but no, I think you're totally right. I totally feel the same way, as because I hear this a lot, and there are times that I feel like that. It's like, oh, Harry, they don't want to have a relationship with you. Just let them go. But I don't know what I mean. I've never experienced, a loss thing, fingers crossed, of a parent. So I don't know what that would feel like, you know what I mean? And to be in a position where you don't feel the love that you desperately need from a parent that's there. How do you throw that off? How do and so I could totally understand why Harry is still holding on and just holding out hope that somehow his father would see him and his father would somehow turn and see like, wow, that's my son, and I need to be able to learn how to show him love, how to be the father I need to be. And so I could totally understand that, Harry just still, keeping the light on there, that maybe, just maybe, there's going to be a day that his father will love him. And so, in spite of him calling him darling boy, I'm like, okay, one, he's not a boy. Thank God Harry is like, yeah, I'm not a boy. And but whether it happens, I hope for Harry's sake, because that's what he needs. That's what he feels like he needs. And you're right, he's getting closer to be like, okay, I've let go, but he still has faith that that could happen. So
I think
it's hard.
hope, maybe more than faith, but
Yeah.
I one thing I was impressed by, you talked about him, we've talked about him being smarter than he gets credit for, is that he very much does see, I think, the ways that the structure of the institution is preventing the things that he needs to happen. And so even though he says in the interviews that he is still okay with the monarchy, I think that's just a way of keeping the door open a crack for his father, because his father can't say, I don't want to have the monarchy. His father's never going to say that.
But he said, but he did say it not as is.
Right, exactly.
Right. So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, is he's keeping that door open a smidge.
Yeah.
All right, so should I don't know what to do. Should I mute or leave this?
You can stay on. If you'd like, you can stay on. I'd love to hear from you now. Hello, can you hear us?
Hello?
Hi.
Oh, finally.
I know you're having some tech difficulties there.
Yeah,
but give us your take. What is something that you love, something that stuck out for you from the book so far?
Well, I love the whole book. I read it by Kindle, and then I listened by Audible. So I think it was very well written. And as the main part I love was, of course, part 3.
Gee, I wonder why.
I think Harry was brutally honest about, throughout the book. I found him very credible. The part, boy, it's just unbelievable. They treated him like dirt, basically. I mean, he was a part of the family, yeah, but they treat him like Cinderella.
Yeah.
Well, they call him Cinderfella, basically. And that part kind of shocked me. Well, from the docuseries, from where they were living, I could see that the way he was treated,
Any specific part are you referring to in how he was treated?
Yeah.
How he was living, yeah, and
the way he was living. I mean, nobody would believe that a prince would be living like that. And William got everything, and they treated him like the redheaded stepchild, basically. And as far as Meghan, I think she went into it naively. I don't think she really knew what went on behind the scene. I think she kind of had the idea that, like, all of us see what we see versus what's happening behind the scene. So that part of it. And I think, of course, I know Harry keeps saying unconscious bias, but it was out and out racist the way they treated her. Period. As far as the shocking part is the way William treated Meghan. I think from the very get-go, I know Harry keeps saying, oh, at first they accepted her. I don't think they ever accepted her.
Right.
At all. I mean, the fact that Charles is going to say he doesn't have enough money for her, she was paying for everything in regards to herself.
Right.
You know, I think that was just cruel the way they treated her. And I'm sure the half is not in that book. I think she's been treated worse than what's even been presented on the docuseries or in the book. And
Right.
that's just a shame.
Right.
Oh my goodness. It's yeah. It was parts of it was very sad, very
Yeah.
sad to me. Very sad. I mean, I tear up a few times, you know. And then
Yeah.
Charles at the funeral, where he's gonna well, first of all, the fact that they wouldn't even let Harry ride on the plane. I mean, even death doesn't change these people.
Right.
He wouldn't even let Harry ride on the plane just to go see his grandmother. He had to
Right.
find his own way. Of course, when he got there, she already passed. And then he's going to say, "Don't bring her," referring to,
Mm-hmm.
"Don't bring her." I mean, what
And
kind
well,
of
that's a question. That was one of my questions. So maybe you and also Cal, if you're still there, if you want to add jump in on that one as well, is were you surprised as the kind of arc of Meghan's relationship with Charles, because it started out where he liked her.
Yeah, I
He
think
started out where he liked her, and he was, even performing for her. And Harry was like, "Oh my goodness, I've never seen my dad like that." To where, when Nanau is just talking about, by the time the Queen is dead, he's referring to her, Meghan, as her. And
yeah,
Harry had
I
to
was
pull him up and say, "Don't you dare disrespect my wife."
I think I was surprised by that because I think we all commented about whether Charles was just trying to buff his position by walking her halfway down the aisle, at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But, Harry gave some behind the scenes examples of how he genuinely felt an engagement between Meghan and his father that I think actually makes sense. And it may even have been, this is speculation, that he did see ways in which a good relationship with her would be beneficial to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think both Camilla and Will put the kibosh on that.
I think so too. I think Camille, because remember, Harry said, he was one on one with Meghan, and Camilla was eavesdropping. She did not like that. I think she is the one that messed up that relationship too. Because the attention, she loves attention, and if Charles is giving some attention to Meghan, that's taking it away from her, and she doesn't like that. So
Mm.
I think the main of all that happened is that snake, Camilla. I'm sorry, I don't like that lady. She did bad to Diana, and she's just an evil person. I think she's just a demon straight out of hell. Period.
Wow.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with just she's extremely self-interested.
Right.
I'm not going to comment on her demonic characteristics, but I
Yeah,
think, you know, there
I'm
have been lots
sorry.
of report. He had multiple mistresses during his marriage to Diana, and Camilla married Andrew Parker Bowles for her own reasons. It wasn't just because she couldn't marry Charles, but I think she's very competitive. And when she
Mm-hmm.
saw these other mistresses getting the good, she was like, okay, I'm ready to step in and take
Right.
take it on. And so she divorced Andrew uh and moved on Charles. So I think it
Yeah.
is very self-interested, and
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
she
she
does
is.
not like competition. And let's face it, Kate's no competition. I mean, she may have been young and uh pretty or mute and
No,
whatever, but
she was never pretty.
she wasn't any competition, because before Meghan appeared, the British tabloids were slagging Will and Kate like every day for being
Mm-hmm.
lazy, the Lamebridges, Duchess Doolittle,
Right.
all of those things. because we have to remember that Will and Kate never worked a full quote unquote full time as full time royals until 2017, when
Right.
Philip finally said, "I'm done. I gotta get out of here, and
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you've got to step up." So
Yeah.
from 2012 to 2017, they did. I won't say it because you don't like cursing, but
Yeah,
they did
no, don't cuss.
nothing.
Don't cuss. But I want to say before you go on, Cal, if
Yeah.
anyone else in the chat want to call in and join the conversation, please do. We will. We want to have like a round table. So again, I just put the link in the chat. So if you want to call in and join the conversation, Karen M, because I missed you last time, please call in and join the conversation. I'd love to hear from you. So not putting you on the spot, Karen M, but call in since I did it. I messed up last time, last week with you. So definitely call in. I'd love to hear from you. So go ahead, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other thing that was interesting about that, Harry said that even William and Kate, they were limited. Charles limited them to what they could do, because he didn't want them to do too much to take away the attention from him and Camilla. What do you guys think about that? He wrote that in the book, that
That is very interesting. Yes, he did. And because at the time when that was happening, just like you guys were saying, that the press was going after William and Kate because they were calling them, like Duchess Doolittle and work shy William and all of those things. And Charles could have easily said, they could have easily put that out, but they didn't. They allowed that to go on, and people not realizing that they weren't doing a lot because they were, they were hindered from doing a lot because Charles didn't want competition.
yeah,
He wanted to be the one that, that had the most, so that at the end of the year they could be praising him for doing all this work. And I mean, you guys could speak if you want to talk about the fact that this is a monarchy that's their one job is to be working and doing stuff for the public. Why would a monarchy, if that's your one job, will hinder people who want to work from working just because it'll take away publicity from you? Oh, Karen M is
I
joining
think.
us. Karen M, I'm joining you,
Hi, Karen
adding you
M.
there. Hi, Karen.
How you doing?
Hi, good, good, good. Come on, join in the chat.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
hello,
Karen M.
hello.
Hello. I finally got it to work.
I know it took me a while too.
I'm glad you guys are here. So, Karen, maybe you can jump in. We were just talking about Charles barring William and Kate from working so that they wouldn't take away the spotlight from him. Meanwhile, the press was attacking them as being work shy.
On that one, I had a statement on something else, but
Oh, well, go ahead and then Cal and then I could take up the about Will and Kate. But go ahead and share with us what you had.
okay. On when Harry talked about their first date and stuff, somebody on Twitter did a timeline to show that Piers Morgan never saw Meghan at all during that time, but at a Suits conference. And
Oh,
I thought that was really something, because they also showed that he changed the story five different times.
are you serious?
Yeah, it was just posted not too long ago on Twitter, where one of the squatties posted it.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that. Like I had, I
Yeah, I
basically
saw
have it
that.
blocked, so I don't know.
Okay, good, because
I saw it. It was partially based on what he said she was wearing when they met up and what she was actually pictured wearing.
Oh.
Well, the one that I saw was tweets from Piers Morgan and Meghan, uh, where he says that I was trying to find it while I was on here. I should have bookmarked it, then I could have went straight to it. But he was talking about it was a missed opportunity during the Suits session that they were at.
Okay.
And Harry and Meghan both described something totally different at a very different place. And he said that he put her in a cab, to which that was not true either.
I know
Oh,
he did
really?
say that.
But
yeah, I remember a tweet that I remember. I think it was an interview or something he was doing that he said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know, maybe the conversation was just on the, not the texting, but like I guess just the communication part of it where they were doing. I don't think he ever met her. He's a liar, period. I don't even take anything he says seriously, because he's just a liar.
yeah, see, I found a lot of different lies that these people have made. And now everybody's pulling out receipts to make everybody know that what was in this book is not what all these people have been saying.
So that's why I think a lot of them are really angry that Harry did this book, because then it calls them liars.
Yeah.
And it exposes what they've been saying as lies. Before we go, and Lottie, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. It's like, how can I call in? I can't even get on. The link is in the chat, so I'm going to post it again. Here is the link there in the chat. So, yep, there you go. The link is right there. So definitely just click on it and call in. And you can turn off your camera. No need for your camera. Just call in and come in and chat with us. So thank you so much, Lottie. I appreciate.
One thing I really loved was that he didn't give them the privilege of a name. PM was the thumb, and DW is the sad little man. I mean, and the bee and the wasp and the ant. I mean, that was just
the bee, the wasp, and the fly.
Fly, yeah. I was like, I was like, the shade is shady up in here. I just love that, because why should he give over any of his story to those people by name?
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Speaking of
go ahead.
Speaking of the bee, the wasp, and the fly, they seem like they basically were the main ones that were making the decisions for Queen Elizabeth, because and they would say they did stuff. When she tell them to do stuff, they wouldn't do it, and would tell her that, yeah, we did this or we did that. And I think she did not have, I know, she has her faults. I'm not clearing her, but I think she did not have the say so as much as we thought she did. I think from the very get-go, it was the bee, the wasp, and the fly, and it seemed like especially that bee was something else. At the Sanhedrin summit, when he said the printer wasn't working, and Harry walked around and saw that the printer was working. I think he's one of the main one that sabotaged Meghan and Harry, and he's probably in cahoots with Charles and Camilla. But I think that was really messed up. My God!
And if that's Edward Young, he also was on the group that denied Harry security after they left.
I don't know. Is he one of?
Yeah, that is absolutely true. Yeah,
it's definitely Edward Young, because he was the Queen's private secretary.
Is he part of the group of the bee, the fly, and the wasp?
Yes, he's the bee.
Okay.
Yes. Well, that was one of the questions I have. Did it surprise you guys how it seemed very little the Queen had to do with Harry's everyday life? And also his relationship, because there are a couple of times where he talks about, him having kind of a conflict with her staff, and he wasn't sure that she would take his side. Were you guys surprised that, because they always talk about Harry's special relationship with her, but yet she didn't seem to be involved in many things?
No, I think maybe as a grandmother, yes, but as the boss, I don't think. And I think from the very get-go with Queen Elizabeth, I think those men, maybe not these set that are still here, maybe the ones before them, are the ones that made the decision, and she kind of just signed off on it. I don't think she had a lot of say so, because these people, they don't like female making decisions. So, they probably just said, well, this is what you need to do. And she kind of just signed off on it. And I think that's how it's been.
I mean, I think things like she gave Harry permission to wear his beard at the wedding.
Yeah,
I think that actually was like a grandmother decision.
Exactly.
As opposed to a queen decision.
Exactly.
And I do think she was taking the direction. And remember, she was fucking 90 years old at the time. And everybody has said that Philip made a lot of the decisions for the family early on. He was the one who kept everybody in line. So I think she could have that like little sweet relationship with him, where he got her to do the thing with the 2012 Olympics, that little video. And so I think, and he said he spoke to her 4 days before she died. I still think she had a hidden phone somewhere on her.
Yeah.
Yes,
remember, she also Zoomed them. Remember that Harry and Meghan both said that her and Philip Zoomed them a lot.
Right.
Yes. So that's the grandma part of it. But as far as the boss part of it, I don't think she had much say. I honestly don't think. I think she had to sign off on everything, because as a woman, even though she's the queen, they don't respect women, and they don't respect women's decision.
Right.
So they just kind of present stuff to her and tell her to sign off on it. And I think that's from the very get-go of her reign. And she just got used to being in that position, but they kind of put her up front like, oh yeah, she's making the decision, when she really isn't. And Harry did say she take the advice of her advisor, and their word, she's what she take, even over his word.
Right.
I don't think
Lottie, hang on one second. Lottie, I see you there, but your device is not connected. So I'm not sure if it's your headset or something that's why I don't have you on there. So check your device. It's saying it's not connected. So check it, and yeah. And hopefully that it'll get fixed, and then we can put you on. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, just to go back a little bit to the William and Kate thing. I think, yes, did Charles control their money? Absolutely. But I also think they did not want to do the bread and butter stuff that the Queen, Queen has these elderly cousins who were out there outworking Will and Kate. And she's the one who provided for their livelihood, giving them grace and favor housing and giving them support. But it was Charles's job to support the two boys. And I think, yes, did he not want them to be like all shiny? But I find it very difficult to believe that he ever had a conversation with Kate in which he was as impressed by her as Harry reported in the conversation with Meghan. So no. I find it hard to believe that he actually thought they would outwork him.
Well, Harry's the one who wrote it. So what I think it is at least what he said is that they weren't the initiatives that they wanted to do. He didn't provide the funding, and he didn't provide, the staff and the funding to be able to do those things, because he didn't want them overshadowing, because he could do like 50 million and they do 2 and they will get the press and he won't get any. And so and so it sounds like something like that. But
I see it, but I also see that Harry started 2 major initiatives in that same period, Centibale and Invictus Games. So it's hard to really say they couldn't have done anything.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty sure they could have. But Charles is not that he's afraid of the outwork, is the fact that he doesn't want the popularity.
Yeah.
They're in this popularity contest.
Mm-hmm.
which I don't think Harry was in because he was just like the Cinderella. But yeah, they could have done a lot of stuff. I mean, they went to university. Why couldn't they start even before the kids? Why didn't they try and do something? But it seemed like they just depended on Harry to do everything, and then they would take the credit for it.
Right.
Just like when Meghan came, and then when Meghan came in, they wanted Harry and Meghan to be the workhorse while they get the credit for it. But then they didn't count on all this attention that Harry and Meghan was going to get globally, and when they see that, the jealousy just kick in, and now they don't care. I mean, they don't care about taking credit now. They don't want them to they want them to work but not be popular. You understand?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I have a question. Was there anything in the book that you felt like you went into it with sort of a misconception of what something is, and then you read it and you're like, oh, wait, I was wrong?
Yeah, I was wrong about guys' legs.
That was the one that jumped out at me too.
I could have sworn somebody at KP broke his legs. I didn't know it was broken in Canada.
I apologize. I was like, oh gosh, I was so wrong.
I'm still thinking, oh, maybe one of their people that was watching in Canada broke his legs. I'm still on that, but I could have sworn it was done at KP, and it was, anyway. Yeah, I was wrong about guys' legs.
Any of you guys, Karen or Cal, any one of you had that went into it with a misconception? It's like, whoops, I was really wrong about that one.
No,
I don't think I had anything that like guys' legs, but I think I don't think the main flow of it was anything I didn't have a view of in advance.
Right. Yeah. I think one for me is the housing, because I always was, and we've said this, and I've said this a whole lot of times, is that I thought when the Queen gave them Frogmore, I was be like, how can she give them the servants' quarters? And I was just like, all of the others have these big houses, and poor Harry and Meghan were given Frogmore. But then when you read the book, Harry said that the Queen offered them other properties, but they were too grand and they were too expensive to renovate. And then she said, well, there's Frogmore, and it seemed like they thought it was Frogmore House, and then she's like, no, Frogmore Cottage. And she explained, and it's a work site right now. Go ahead and go and see if you like it, and then let me know. And then they went and they're like, oh wow, yes, this is what we want. And so that was a big misconception that I had. And I was like, oh,
me too. I thought,
I'll go with that.
I agree with that one. But what surprised me is where Harry was living before Meghan.
Yes.
That was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then William and his friends, because there's a video of that, they're joking about it.
Yeah.
How Harry has to tilt his head to get around. He had no closet.
Yeah, but William and Kate used to live there first before Harry.
While they were waiting for the apartment to be fixed.
Yeah, but they didn't stay there that long. They didn't stay there that long.
Have a view of what I did not know was the Spencer tiara was offered to me.
I know.
That was probably the biggest thing, because they kept saying, oh, she'd never be offered it because it's only for Spencer Charles's children or the sister's children. But that was a big surprise. And that her veil had been chosen to go with that tiara. And then all of a sudden
she didn't wear that one. Man,
the Queen came in and offered, and of course they would never say no to the Queen.
Right, of course. And plus, it would have been a little weird. Maybe that's why the Queen stepped in, because if Charles is walking her Meghan down the aisle with Diana's tiara, know what the narrative would have been there.
I know. Yeah, and it would be all about Diana's tiara.
Of course. And,
They didn't like
Charles.
that. And that Angela lady, she is, oh boy,
Mm-hmm.
she is, she's something else with
Yes.
that tiara. I'm like, I mean, I think after the second time Harry asked her, I would have just called up my grandma and said, you know what? She doesn't want me to wear this tiara. Meghan is wearing Diana's tiara, and that's that. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
know he wouldn't do it, but that's what I would do.
yeah. Well, then it goes right back to what I was asking about. Were you surprised about Harry's relationship with the Queen? Because even then he was like, he thought about it, but then he didn't know if she would have sided with Angela because Angela is his trusted aide. And so this is why I asked, were you a little bit surprised with how, and even he said, like, oh, so many times he talked about wanting to hug her, but he was also afraid of her.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But I think, like he said, the institution, no matter what, always comes first.
Yeah.
The institution comes first.
Yeah.
Even if he believe what even if she believes what he's saying, she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna side with the institution. And I
Yeah.
think that's the gist I got from it. So it's kind of weird the way. It's kind of a weird family thing, you know what I mean? It's like she can't separate the two. Sometimes she seems like she can separate the two, and sometimes she seems like she can't
You
separate the
can't separate.
two.
Well, Lydia says, I wish she would have took the Spencer tiara and all oh goodness. And all the other tiaras down along with Angela Kelly. So Lydia would have rather her wear I love that Diana tiara. Also, yeah, that would have been again, if she had worn that tiara and having Prince Charles walk her down the aisle, that would
Exactly.
have been an issue.
Well, it probably would be, but then it would have been Angela's fault hanging on to
Yeah,
the tiara.
exactly. And Diane says, I was surprised to the degree with which Harry seemed to be afraid of Liz, even though he loves her and seemed to be favored by her. That was one of the things that surprised me as well. I mean, I know he respects her as his commanding officer in the military and stuff, but I was very surprised as to how much he seemed literally afraid of her. And it's just like, wow, there was never really that, even though he loves her, she never was able to take down that wall so he can love her like he really wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
Boundaries are a huge problem in this family.
Yeah,
both coming in and going out.
Yeah.
They do not have good sense. So if you have this family that is a firm, it seems like you should be really clear about what goes in each pot.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe they were. And they let it all get smushed together, and it affected Margaret. It affected the other children of the Queen. And so I think that, we see the spare relationship much differently in this generation because there's only the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I don't think that William had that loving relationship. Probably he had it in some regards worse because it was all about the crown.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons that he was, remember with the beard thing, he couldn't believe that Granny would allow Harry to keep the beard, and he's like, well, she wouldn't let me do it. She wouldn't even let me wear the uniform that I wanted. And I always thought his red uniform, in my mind, the red was more attractive than what Harry wore, but I didn't realize that was an issue.
apparently one was better than the other.
I guess. I was like, I actually rather the red one because it stood out more than the one Harry wore to his, but I was like, I guess that was an issue too. Yeah, so
so the other thing is with the Meghan had said in the docuseries that she thought the formality was just on the outside, but when behind closed doors, the formality was still there too. So so going back to why Harry was afraid of her, is like they never let their guard down even behind closed door.
Right.
I mean, it's weird.
It is very weird. Bright Eyed PBJ says, I still think they broke his legs. How did he get away? I still think Bright Eyes. It is. I mean, when I first read it, I was like, I don't know about this. But I was like, it's either that or I'm gonna have to believe Harry is lying, and I don't want to believe he's lying about. But I know what you mean. When I first read it, I had the same response. It's still saying, that I was like, you sure it wasn't somebody at KP? Because I so convinced myself
Me
it was
too.
somebody there.
I even had a person in mind.
I did too. This is terrible. We are so terrible.
I know that one was.
I had this on me too.
Shot me.
Lottie, it's still saying the device is not connected. I am so sorry. I'm not sure what, check your headsets or I see you there. It's just saying you're not connected. That's why I can't get you on. I'm so sorry.
She might have to go under. I had to go under setting, and because when I first came on, it wouldn't let me turn the camera off, and if I turn the camera off, then the mic.
Then you couldn't be. So check your settings.
I had to go under
check your settings, Lottie, and see if there's something with that. Our awesome moderator says, Petal, I apologize. That word was to be shut. Not the other. I do not even cuss in conversation. My apologies in the chat and you. I figured there was something. That's why I didn't say it. So I understand, Lydia, that I totally get it. I totally understand. And thank you so much for your donation, as you always are supporting in so many ways. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It happens. Don't worry. Yeah. But poor Lydia's over there dying. No, don't. I got ya. But let's see. There was another question that I had. Wait a second. Where is it? Harry talks about, and I'm going to open up the chat for everyone in a few minutes. We kind of just went over it about five or 6 minutes, but I'm going to open up the chat for all of the our other our wider community. But Harry talks about that he, just before, when he got the lawyers to sue the Daily Mail, one of the things he said that his whole life he had been told what to do. So when they said, you can go around it and you can hire your own lawyer, it was like a new teaching to him. It's like, I could do that. My whole life I had been, groomed and trained to do as I was told. What did you you think of Harry as this person that he always seems to be the one that goes off the rails. You don't think of him as, but then when you look at it, it's like, it's like in the military, you do as you're told. In the royal family, you basically do as you're told. What did you guys, I don't know if you saw that or thought about it, but, just your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought about it. I think even now we still have some of those, like what you call the Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's like having what people would say, like you have a bunch of bugs in a jar and they live in that jar so long that when you take the cap off, they still stay in the jar. They don't fly off because they're just used to. They don't know that they're free to do free to leave the jar, and right. I think that's the same thing with Harry. Is I think Meghan opened his eyes up to a lot of stuff. I know they blame her for everything, but she didn't. She just opened his eyes, because a lot of things he said, boy, I didn't see it until Meghan.
Right.
But I also think this same, like, not just being framed in this hierarchy also took place when Meghan was having her suicidal ideation. And he says, I think he said it in the docuseries, I acted like an institutional person instead of a husband. Right. And I think that was like one of the places where he also realized, oh, I've got to break free of this sort of view that I have to follow orders,
Right.
as are set in the institution. So I think having his wife talk about killing herself and their child was probably the first wake up call.
Yeah.
And then stepping out for the lawyers was probably much easier after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so hold that thought for 1 second. I am going to let others in our wider community, and so just hang on for me for 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So if you guys can stay on, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some posts from the chat, and we can talk about, post. Lottie, it's still not connected. I am so sorry. It is not. There's something wrong with your connection. That's why I'm not able to. So for our wider community, if you're okay to come in on the chat now. I just changed it so you could come in, and so we could take some of the posts from our fellow squatties. And if you guys would like to comment on them, that would be really awesome. I know it's taking up your time, but if you can stay on, I would love to. I'd love to for you guys to answer to some of this if you're able. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Karen, you okay with that? Nana?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fantastic. Let's see.
Before we move on from that, our last discussion, the only thing I wanted to say is that Harry had said on Meghan's suicide that this was one of his greatest disgrace.
Yeah.
And I like that he owned up to it.
Yeah, he said he felt helpless.
Yeah. They drilled in him to always be nothing. And that's the way he felt. And it's almost like he was a stepper, not wife, but stepper husband type deal. When it came to the royals, he had to ask permission for everything in my eyes. So yeah, it took Meghan to say, this isn't normal.
Right. Exactly. So since we're talking about, the things that Harry has done, has your view of him changed in any way at all? But let me look at Kathy for a second. Just think about that. And I'm going to look at some of our comments, and we'll come back to that question. Kathy G says they also don't teach these people life skills. Getting a degree in art history, you better major in business or something, working in art gallery or whatnot. Not sure what you mean. I'm assuming with art history, I mean, yeah, you can work in a art gallery, but not, I guess is not, you don't really get life skills and stuff like that, like, learning how to run a business and stuff like that. I'm assuming that's what you're saying, Kathy. Let's see someone else. Thank you, Kathy. Diane says, how could Meghan have known how these unroyal folks were when Harry didn't understand the full extent of their foolishness, especially the behind the scenes stuff? And yeah, I think that's a comment too. I think one of you guys were saying that, she didn't understand. Yeah, the full extent. Yes. I don't think anyone could. Goodness, grievances. Nitsugay, thank you so much for your super sticker. Thank you. I definitely appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Let's see. Black Queen is talking to Lydia. She says, I know if she had set precedents from the beginning, she would have had an upper hand in the end. I believe that Exhibit A, her ancestors, Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Elizabeth and Queen Victoria. I'm not sure. You're talking to Lydia. So there's a conversation that I don't know fully. So let's go and see if something that the ladies on here can answer. Let's see. Joyce says, hello everyone, good chat. Harry has had to deinstitutionalize himself, and he has done a very good job of that. He is still a work in progress, but he knows he's a husband first. Yeah, very good point. And to the point, the question that I was asking, have your opinion of him changed? Has your opinion of Harry changed in any way from reading the book? Do you see him differently?
Yes.
In what way?
Stronger.
Okay.
I'm at the age where I was privy to all of that stuff from Diana on down.
Mm-hmm.
And Harry, I'm gonna be honest, I was not that thrilled with Harry as a teenager and stuff. I did understand that he was grieving, but he was a total mess until he went into the military.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I really started to appreciate him and see what he didn't see in the beginning, because he even said it, that the military more or less saved his life. And from that point on, yes, I liked Harry better. Well, I really wasn't a royal person anyway until really Meghan, because Diane, yes, and I liked what she was doing, but I didn't follow them.
Mm-hmm.
They were England, we were US, so
right.
Never the two shall meet type deal. But yeah, Harry in the beginning, yeah, I thought he was a spoiled brat that type deal. But after reading and seeing a lot of these videos of how he was treated, how his brother treated him, how his father was treated him, I now understand why there's so many pictures of Harry and Diane together more than Diane and William together. And because of that, he turned out way better than William ever could.
Right. How about you guys, Colin and Nanau? Do you see Harry any differently?
I never saw him. I mean, I saw him as being part of the kind of aristo set, right? You know, I think part of what we see in the behavior is what we see, and if you look at other aristocrats. So I didn't have a bad feeling about him in particular, because even today, I don't think I own his behavior. He's got to own it. But what I did see in the book and in all the things they've done since 2020 is a person who's really owning his shenanigans and telling where he feels both guilt and responsibility, because those are two separate things. And I really, you know, he's closing in on 40. Hopefully many people can get to that. And I don't think he was given the tools to do that. Even in his, I think being in the military was the first place where he was held accountable.
How about you, Nanau? No, I think we may have. Nanau is not there. Okay. Actually, there's a little bit of a change from Lottie. You're still disconnected, but I'm gonna do one of your comments. Lottie says, how about the part where they lost the baby? He took his hands and dug a hole and they buried the baby. I couldn't stop crying. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
I've never lost a child, but I can't imagine all the pain, the changes that your body goes through to end up with nothing. That has to be the hardest pain anybody can ever go through. And I thought childbirth was hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Diane says, I was surprised William was a Suits fan and likely had dreams of Meghan as a woman of his dreams. And then here comes Haz with the real deal. in the flesh. Do you guys have a feeling that that is partly the reasons why William hates Meghan?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm thinking about their picture when they were, I think, at a church, and he was steadily staring at Meghan, and she was looking straight forward. I bet he was daydreaming about that woman during that time. Just like Kate was all over Harry during her 10 years being married. That was disgusting. She was almost in his lap in one of the pictures.
I always did think, some of those pictures were like basically William just walking out into the rain and leaving Kate behind, and Harry's like, what the heck? So he gives her the umbrella. I don't think he ever really, he says he thought of her as a sister, but I don't think they didn't spend that much time together. So I don't think they were as close as everybody speculates, but I think he was gentlemanly and protective because it just seems to me he's always wanted that those close family ties. Right. And he assumed that he would get it from William and Kate. Right. And I think they let him down.
Yeah. Well, Harry also said that they weren't that close. I mean, between him spending all that time in Africa, 10 years in the military, how close can you get?
Right. It's so funny. I have all these pictures and I realize like, oh, wait, I haven't even showed any of my pictures. So now that we're talking about William and Kate, all my pictures that I did, and I was like, oh, I was having so much fun. I didn't show any of my pictures. Were you guys surprised that Harry was the one that was really about gung-ho about them being, him and his wife and William and Kate, and he was the one that was really pushing that idea? Were you surprised about that?
No, because he wanted that bond.
Yeah.
And he wanted it bad for Meghan to feel at home, seeing as she lost everything, her job, her father, her country, more or less type deal. She was going to give it up to be a citizen of the UK and stuff. So no, he was trying his hardest to make her an equal, I would say.
And you remember the BBC podcast that he did at the holidays in 2017, he said, I'm so glad to be able to give her the family she never had. But it turned out to be the family he never had, really.
Yeah, and that triggered Samantha Markle. I could never forget that one.
You know what is so funny is her daughter cut her down very politely in the Netflix one. And then she tried to talk about her own daughter. I was like, oh, God, you're not helping yourself any.
Wow. Did it surprise you how petty Kate and William are? Was that?
You don't know me well enough to talk about my hormones. I mean,
crying
out loud.
I know, they're like kids.
You didn't give us Easter presents. Yeah.
I mean, who gives Easter presents?
Nobody.
Just the kids.
You know what I found funny on that is that before Meghan even met Harry, Meghan had her own clothesline. Her clothes, clothes capsule. She was modeling.
Capsule.
Yeah, collection. Okay, that's yeah. She was modeling. She was doing commercials. Okay, type deal. So who would want Kate's 1950 clothes?
Oh, please. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you.
I got cut off.
Yeah, I know. That's why I put you back in there. I can hear you. Let's see.
Have you noticed that before Meghan, the way Kate looked, and now the way Kate looks, she's copying everything that Meghan wears.
I know, it's crazy. and weird.
It is crazy and weird.
Pedal,
Yeah, that,
somebody,
Oh,
people want the link again.
you know what
Royal Sussex is here. Hi, Baron. How are you? Call in, Baron. Come and join us. The
Pedro, you
link.
know, the one thing that surprised me is
Mhm.
to hear that Harry delivered his daughter.
Oh, that was so sweet.
That,
Yes.
yeah, he described it so perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one thing that I never expected at all.
Mm-hmm. Were you surprised as to what happened when Meghan was pregnant with Archie, when she was delivering Archie, and then she was back home with like less than 2 hours after? I was just like, what?
No, because that's the way they do them. You're not even really in there 24 hours before they
Yeah.
boot you out. So
That's
now,
the way they're
now
doing it.
when I had mine, yeah, we were in there for 3 days.
Yeah, me too. Well, 2 days.
But that was 70, 80 when I had mine too. So yeah, but now when my daughter and grand did theirs, yeah, they were in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the new deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost like
Is there anything that you didn't like about the book at all? I mean, again, we're all fans, but still, we all, there are things that appeal to us and some it might not appeal to some. Is there anything that you felt like, oh, I don't feel good about knowing this, or I didn't really like this, or we're
Elizabeth
adding someone
Arden.
else to our Sean. Hello, Sean. So let's add Sean to our group. Welcome, Sean.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
hear you. Welcome.
First things first, great show. Second, I always catch your show. I always catch the replays because I'm always working, driving trucks, and being messy with you guys is very hard to do. But I had to stop working and pull over because I have a theory on something. But before
Oh,
Ooh.
I do that,
go ahead.
I would like to say something first. Andrew, you're a sick old man. You're disgusting. I do that everywhere I go. But now,
Okay.
That one's good. That one's
but
good.
But what I have a theory when the young lady just mentioned William and Suits, it just hit me. First of all, Harry is being very slick. Harry's being to
Mm,
the point that he's playing like I want to say innocent, which he is, him and his wife is, but he is going to give them that work. Harry is pretending to be like, oh, let's be family, and I'm trying to save them from no, 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 no. He has to do it that way because he don't want to seem like the bad guy, which he is not. He have every right to protect his family and fight accordingly, and that's
mm,
Harry is doing. I notice a lot of things he's doing. I'm like, well, Harry, why you said it like that? Harry, why don't you do it? And then I have to step back and think. Harry is thinking outside the box. Harry is
mm,
thinking in far upon what we're thinking and the press is thinking and the royal family's thinking. Think about it. This boy has been tormented since his mama died. He know how his mama passed away. And remember when he was asked the question, do you really want to know what happened? Do you want to reopen the investigation? Harry had a look on his face like, I'll let it go, you know, no,
mm-hmm.
no, that's a lie. I read through Harry. Harry already knows what happened.
Oh,
Harry
of
already
course.
had people on it. He's just not revealing it right now. Harry is waiting. Harry is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. But
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait for Baron's chance because we don't have enough time right now. But I'll wait for Baron's chance because Baron, I know he's listening and he's messy. He wants all the dirt. So I'll save it to that. But what I wanted to say when you mentioned William and Suits and Meghan,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and Harry said William and Kate were fans of the show. They knew who Meghan was. Remember when Harry said he never watched the show and he
Mm-hmm.
never knew who Meghan was? Harry's lying. He did know who she was. Because how did he know that they were big fans of the show? They had to been talking about it. Harry knew who Meghan was. The problem was
Well, no,
Harry,
he did say
no,
that. He
no,
said that Kate and
no,
William told him.
okay, they told him. They told him beforehand, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't think it's just a coincidence. Harry sought this way. He just seen her on social media and asked, "Oh, who is this girl?" Harry sought her out. Now, he probably was thinking, no. Think about it. Think about it. He was
I
thinking,
am. That's
well,
what.
I
Yeah,
can, I can tease William with it just a bit. Never thought he was gonna actually fall in love with her. He was doing it to piss William off because he knew William had a serious crush on this woman. And what better way for him to get back at his brother than to going to get with the woman that he really hoped for and desired? Why do you think Kate hates her so much? It ain't because she was popular, it's because she knew William desired Meghan all this time and never thought in a million years that she would become part of the family. And like I said before, it's all Harry's gonna reveal all in his own time. But I really believe Harry got with Meghan because not to say he don't love her, because he does, but he got with her to get at William, but he didn't think it would go far. I want y'all to just think about that. It's too much of a coincidence to show that all the women in the world that his brother and his sister-in-law was big fans of, all of a sudden somebody from the show that his brother actually liked, he wound up with her. Think about that. I want y'all to really think about that.
Interesting thought. Interesting thought. I mean, again, I can only go on what Harry says. So,
Yeah.
but that's an interesting take.
And I think they had a lot of people they knew a lot of people in common, it turns out.
Yeah,
at the end of the day. So I'm gonna take his word for it if he says
I'm gonna give Harry the benefit of the doubt.
Because
think about it.
I think I feel the same way too because of how he explained it. Like he was worried that they wouldn't accept her and all. So he said he was really shocked to know that they even knew what they even knew Suits, and they were actually fans.
Well, think about it. Okay, let's just say it went just a tad bit different. They know a lot of people in common. But think about it. When he went through that Instagram and seen her there, and he asked, "Who is this woman?" And he saw her, and he knew Meghan was from Suits because the guy told Harry eventually. He had to find out beforehand. You didn't think Harry thought, interesting.
Interesting. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Harry thinks on his feet. They have a lot of people in common. They know people in the business, and just so happened he's friends with somebody who was friends with her. Just so happened went through his Instagram page to see her and said, "Wait, that's the girl from the TV show. Wait a minute, she's from Suits. Excuse me, who is this girl?" Yeah, well, she plays on a TV show.
I also think the flavor of the book is that he's a romantic.
Have you seen the TV show? No, but I think my brother and my sister-in-law been telling me about it. And who is this? Oh, she's one of the starlets on there. Oh, that's the Meghan. Oh, that's the one that plays Rachel. My brother's, he has a crush. Oh.
Carrie,
thank you so much.
If you read the whole book,
I'm gonna let y'all go, but that's my theory.
No, hey, I hear you. I hear you. That's definitely a different take on it. I appreciate everyone's different take on it. It's like,
I think his tone is so romantic through the whole book, even before Meghan. He's a romantic.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate the appeal of a good conspiracy theory, just like the next person.
I know.
but I actually do not think, because he also knew that his relationships were, constantly like put up for grabs. So I just think that would have been, he would have to be completely Machiavellian. I think he's a good strategist, but I don't think he's
because he described, how he
He's
describes
romantic.
how he describes it. I mean, I believe what he said, but I also too like a good, conspiracy. He's like, I wonder. But I totally, I mean, I believe what Harry says and
Yeah,
how he
I
operates
have to
and stuff.
I have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely. Let's see
He's
something
telling
else.
his story. I can't say, well, you're telling your story, but that's not how it goes. This is how it goes. I have to go by what he says his story is.
Exactly. Marianne says there's a part of the epilogue that surprised me. It had been reported widely at the time Harry and Meghan took their kids to England that the Queen never got to see Lilibet, but
Yeah,
she did.
he did.
Yeah, some people said that it didn't happen, but a lot of the press that I'd read that said it happened. So they weren't really. In other words, they weren't really sure it happened
Yeah,
because
because
some people were saying yes they did, but they didn't take photographs, and there was a whole. Some people are saying yes they did, so it was a whole big. But what did you guys think about that? I love that too, Marianne, the epilogue. What did you guys think about the Queen's visit with, or at least Harry and Meghan with Lily, and Archie's visit with the Queen?
I mean, I'm glad they did, because that's the last. She wouldn't have seen them if he didn't take the kids at that point, because he passed
Yeah.
away shortly after. And she knows she knows the well-mannered ones versus the ones that are not. And I'm not going to say much about the kids, but
I mean, we saw them at the Jubilee, so it's not surprising. They are
but
very rambunctious, those little ones.
yeah, but she said the sweetest kids, and she said that for a reason. Yeah, but
Yes.
I think it was pretty sweet, and I'm glad, because his grandmother, he really loves her. I'm glad she was able to see them before she passed, especially Lilibet, because I think that would be her first time seeing Lilibet.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah.
My part that I don't quite understand is she was quick to make William's kids prince and princess. Why didn't she do that for Harry's kids?
Exactly.
She broke the rules for them. Why not Harry's kids?
Right.
That's why I have a toss up on the Queen, and because half the time she didn't do anything, but yet he turns around and said, oh, he respects her, he loves her. They Zoom, all the time type deal. But what good is that if you're not helping him?
Right. Exactly. What did you guys think about because I know when they I'm gonna come back to you, Anita. I'm gonna come back to this your post. But what did you guys think about the when Harry wanted to have the wreath laid at the cenotaph for him, and they had said, no, no, no. And did you guys expect the ending? Because I know we were like, oh my gosh, we didn't know that the wreath was laid. What did you think about how it all ended with that?
I was surprised on that one.
Yeah.
That somebody laid the wreath for him anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad someone did, though. But that was just downright dirty. And this is the other thing why I think a lot of these decisions the Queen is not making the decision. These decisions are being made for her by these, well, Diana used to call them men in gray suit, but the bee, the wasp, and the fly. And they're the ones that are pulling, that's really in control. She is just like like a puppet or something, just standing there, and whatever they say, that's what goes, because they always bring it to her. It's for the good of the institution, just like at the Sanhedrin summit. Oh, you cannot do it this way, or else it's going to mess with the institution. And once she hears those words, she's going to side with whatever they say.
Right. Did it it's just really thinking back on just this, at least we knew that, Harry had asked for permission. I think I was a little surprised where he suggested 3 different things, and then they came up with I think they said nowhere in the Commonwealth or something like that will a wreath be laid for Prince. And I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, that's just hateful, period.
It's like they just think they have
And
control.
if anybody
over all
deserved
of
to
this
lay a
so that
wreath,
no
he's
wreath could
probably
be
the
laid.
only one from that family.
Yeah, and they let Edward, who washed out of the Royal Marines in 3 days, lay a wreath. I mean, it's crazy.
I know.
I still laugh at that man's uniform.
Which one?
With his chocolate
I
medals.
can't,
Oh yeah.
I can't help it. Every time I see that man, I'm like, this is a little bit here, a little bit over here, a little bit back there. He has no real uniform.
Yeah, no. No. Anita, so coming back to your comment, Anita says, I think Kate knows that William likes Meghan, and that so that she dresses like her.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
And yeah, I would think. I mean, it's really strange. It's very single white female. And so it is very strange to see it happening. But it's really wild because you saw when Princess Diana, when early on in, not early on, but right, I think when the Princess Diana divorced and Charles divorced, you saw outfits where Camilla was basically trying to dress like Diana.
Yes.
And I
Yes,
think,
saw
I
those.
mean, one, I think it's very single white female, but I think it's two is, or I could be wrong. It seems like trying to erase a history, or erase from people's mind that this person, this is their fashion or this is their look. So in their record, which is their tabloid record, what people are gonna see first is her wearing the outfit as opposed to Meghan wearing it a few years ago. It's a way for me, I think, of erasing or rewriting history. I could be wrong.
Interesting. No,
Well,
that's an interesting thought.
Good luck, because
That's like
there's not a day when Kate looks natural and regular in those clothes that Meghan doesn't outshine her. I mean, I agree. The tabloid record is one thing, but that's the difference between now and 20 years ago. There's more than the tabloid record. There's the record, the outfits they wore on the cover of the Time magazine. There's all the pictures we have that are not about the tabloid. So
Right.
I think they're gonna catch cold at that.
Right. Yeah.
she's gonna have to back off that at some point.
Yeah.
Because people just aren't buying that. People are just, and she's just getting dragged for it. Why even do it?
Right.
Ridiculous.
So Anne says Harry said he has a second family in Africa, Botswana. When probably embraced, or they probably embraced him more than his own family. God was there protecting Harry. He was used by the firm, the royal family, suit their agenda. Were you guys surprised to learn about this family, Harry and Meghan, their family in Botswana, that basically is Harry's second family, and that really, really embraced him there?
Yeah, I was surprised. I never heard that family talked about before. I think he hinted in the docuseries about them, but I've never heard him talk about them before.
Yeah, and these are some pictures of Harry and Meghan in Botswana. That's in the middle. Thank you. One of our squaddies, Daisy Days 10, did this little collage in the middle there. That's and then those are other regular photos of them. But yeah, I wasn't Mike and Tej, and I wasn't. It is like every time Harry had a moment to get away, Harry got away.
Yeah.
And he was in Botswana in the bush with Mike and Tej and all their gang over there. It's like a whole family. And he's like, they really rescued him. That was surprising to me. I didn't know about them.
And I also the first trip that they took, where there's like absolute like regular tent you get in Dick's Sporting Goods
Yeah,
that they were staying
that
in.
was surprising.
I
Yeah,
think I was fooled into thinking it was a little bit of
fancy
bush
schmancy.
glamping. I thought, oh, they're up on a platform, they're in a wooden structure, and then it was like, no, this is a regular ass tent.
Yeah, that was Finding Freedom gave us that little that little line thing. That was from Finding Freedom. That was not true at all. Oh, Karen is here. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hi guys, I'm
Hi.
wonderful. Hi. How are you guys?
Good,
Good.
good, good. So we're talking about Harry's family in Africa, and that practically raised him. And I love the relationship with him and Mike and Tej. Tej is like his mom. And how did you, when he said that they were having, she was being a mom, was like, oh, put your, I think I guess his sunscreen or whatever she was saying, and he kept saying it, and then he finally was like, fine, mom. What do you guys think?
I was so like I knew because he always, every time he has a chance, he always get away to Botswana. And even when he have time off from his work in the army, anytime he gets that free time, he just jets off to Botswana. So I knew there was something there, and there were people that he was connecting with there. But to hear him speak about them and the kind of closeness and the family life, it was really heartwarming. I was like at such a relief knowing to what extent this family was to him. Because you always wonder, with all the adversities and everything that he has, gone through and suffered, how is it that he's keeping it together, up until this point, and for him to to go through all those early years of his life and still have it together to be the man he is today. And when you hear of this family in Botswana, it gives you that perspective, and it helps, it gives me a heartwarming relief to know that he had this loving closeness, as he was growing. And it just give me that, it just, it just give me that comfort, because it was always that hole in my heart as to, what was happening to him during that period. And I felt like, I can just relax and exhale, knowing that he was taken care of, and there was this family that was giving him the love that he needed when he leave there and he comes back to this whatever world he was living in. He got that love. He was coming back, with that love in him, and kind of put things in perspective for him to move forward and to deal with what he had to deal with. So I felt like Diana was still there giving that love through this family, and it feels so good, so good to hear that.
What if, one of the things, thank you, Karen. One of the things that I absolutely love is Harry's, how he spoke about his past relationships and how lovingly he portrayed each of the women and how much it brought to his life. One of the things that he talked about was an incident, is a situation with him and Cressida, when they were having a conversation, and other than him being at the burial of his mom, that time was the first time he cried.
Right.
Any one of you other guys could talk about that?
Yes.
Yes. If
I know I can talk
you don't
about
know,
it.
yeah. So you don't have to, but Oh, Legs, hang on one second. Legs, thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it. Legs said, isn't it weird that Baldy wants to be remembered as Diana's legacy, but he represents the institution? Dee wanted to leave and H&M did. Dee was hounded by the tabloids as well as H&M. H is living Dee or Diana's life. It's very interesting with William, because thank you so much, Legs. I appreciate it. From reading this account of William, especially in his childhood when they were growing up, one of the things that Harry wrote about that is that William, when they were younger, wanted to talk about Diana. He wanted to talk, but Harry wasn't in a place that he just couldn't do it. But as William grew older, he grew quiet. And then Harry started to talk about it. And now William is in a place where he doesn't feel like, therapy. He doesn't feel like he needs it. But as we can see with all the incandescent with rage behavior, he desperately needs it. And so it really gave us, for me, it was just like, wow, he is still living through that trauma. He has processed it differently. And it's just coming out in ways where he now blows up at people, including attacking Harry. And so he is still going through that trauma that he never dealt with. And again, no fault of his as a child. He wanted to talk about it. But as we saw with Harry, they sent Harry back to school 2 weeks later with no help, no therapy, no anyone helping. So you think this little boy, 2 years older than Harry, also was sent back to school with no help. And so it's like, even though you know what I feel about William now, but there's still that the same as Harry still had that little boy that was still traumatized. William still has that little trauma to living with that little traumatized boy. Is just being coming out in different ways. And so I wanted to see if any of you guys had any thoughts about that. If maybe some of us are like, let's just read over William. But that really stuck out to me. And again, in spite of what I think about William, I do recognize like, wow, that was something different that I hadn't thought of before. That, yeah, he still has that little traumatized, I think he was 14, 15 years old when Diana died. That little 15-year-old is still there, traumatized.
Yeah,
yes. And I think that's what's, go ahead.
I was just going to say he was 17 and just, I do think he was traumatized. I said this earlier that I was 17 when my mother died and it was a very deep wound. But I find myself kind of agreeing with Church Nelly that at this point he might need an exorcism rather than
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to talk about that, and as well as in regards to the girlfriends, I thought you were asking somebody else to speak about it. But I think that William is still he hasn't dealt with it, and he is still traumatized by it, and I think that's where his lashing out to Harry is coming from, because he's transferring that pain onto someone else, because he's not owning it, he's not dealing with it, and he is going according to how the institution deals with stuff, and he is just bundling it up in there, and his lash out is to the aides and to Harry and stuff, and the more Harry speak about it, the worse he lash out at him in regards to that. In with Harry not speaking to him, wanting to speak about it before, what I gather is that the way Harry wanted to speak about it, he couldn't get that from his brother or within the forum, because their way is, in terms of, well, okay, we talk about it, okay, let it go and get on with it, and that's not what Harry was looking for. He was looking, to actually speak to someone, as to how he was feeling, his pain, what he is going through. He wants to speak about his mom as how he spoke about her in the book, and how he always speak about her. And that's not what he was getting from, he would get from his brother or from his father or from anyone in the forum. So his, and the feelings that he had about her when he was saying that, she's somewhere hiding, he wanted to hold on to that because it's telling him that, no, she's not dead. She's hiding somewhere. Whereas when he's speaking to William or his dad or whoever, they're telling him that she's gone. Okay. And he wasn't ready for that. So I guess it was, so he couldn't come to terms of speaking about her, to any of them, in that way. And in terms of, how he spoke about, his girlfriends, his exes, I was so amazed, how, passionate and how loving he spoke about, these women. And as much as they're not in his life, he showed the kind of love and passion even up until today, that he has for them, and I really, really appreciated that. And when I was reading and listening to that, I was saying, oh my gosh, this guy is, you would think that this relationship between him and these women are still going on. So I'm saying to myself, okay, he speaks so beautiful about them and so loving about them. When it comes for him to speak about Meghan, he wouldn't have nothing to he wouldn't have any more of that to say, because he speaks so highly of them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what is he will he have anything more to say about Meghan? Because this is the love of his life. Like, he's not gonna have any more to say. But when it came to him speaking about Meghan, he had a lot more to say. And it was just beautiful the way how he spoke about those women, and he gave them, their homage, and it was just heartfelt, really, really heartfelt. And I raised my hat to him.
Yeah. What do you other ladies think about how Harry spoke about the other women?
I thought he was very, as I said, I think he's a romantic. I think he really wanted those relationships. One of the things that was interesting to me was that he said he knew he wouldn't get, respect in the family or even maybe in the UK until he got married. And so the distance between the time when he first thought he should start to think about building a family and the time when he actually did, a long time. So I think those women were lucky, and that he was lucky to have them. And one thing I wanted to say about is that, you remember the scene where Harry and Meghan she says something and he goes off on her. I mean, that, I really felt that. And I was like, we know how it comes out in the end, that they're together. Oh my gosh! It's like, walk out with her dog and her bag and never coming back.
Oh no, you don't. You don't.
Like, was that the one where he said that the food stopped, like the boiling,
everything stopped.
Nina Simone stopped.
Right. I was like, she walked upstairs and I was like, is she gonna come down with her bag?
I was waiting for the bag and the luggage coming up.
But girlfriend laid down the law. She had to lay it down one time when he got the boy. He understood the assignment.
Yeah.
Oh, he got it. He got it right away. He got
it. I'm telling you. And I think, in a lot of ways, I think that's one of the reasons, especially British men hate Meghan. Because of the standard, she is not going to accept that.
That's right.
She doesn't care who you are. She's no respect person. She's like,
that's right.
This is my standard. I will not put up and tolerate this. I don't care that you were a prince or not. You will not speak to me in this way and have a relationship.
And that's how it should be with all women. Exactly. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a prince, you're a president, prime minister, whoever, and even if you're a billionaire, it does not matter. I can be, a person who don't know where my next paycheck is coming from or my next meal is coming from. You are not going to disrespect me. I don't care who you are and how high up you are and how much money you have. You are not going to do it. No way. Exactly. So I look up to Meghan for that, keeping her poise, her standards, and it doesn't matter. I like the part when she told William no. You take your hand out of my face.
I know.
No, it's not going to happen.
Exactly. Because, no one else would speak to him in that way because, we've seen William.
That's why you have a problem with her.
Yeah, here's a change of direction. Lydia has a little bit of a change. She says, I was unaware Harry still smokes. here I was trying to keep him from visiting Snoop Dogg.
I had to listen to that twice. Did he say joints?
And they have things in common.
I said, did he say joints?
I gotta be honest with you. When he said he rolled a joint at Tyler Perry's house, I was like, oh, I don't know you. What is he saying that about Tyler Perry's house? I don't know if Tyler smokes. What are people gonna say? That one was, I was like, maybe you shouldn't have said that.
Perfectly legal in California.
He ate what is it, like the candy mushroom thing at Courtney Cox's house? And I was like, oh my gosh.
I had to replay that like 3 times. It's like, did he say it?
And I just was like, oh my gosh. And I tell you, Harry is like a kid. He has no filter, and that's the reason I love working with kids, because they have no filter and they just say things and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if you were supposed to say that.
But you see, one of the things that people keep forgetting, when Harry announced that he was writing this book, his word says he is writing, I don't know, I can't put it together, but he is writing about his life, the holy truth, right? When somebody tells you the holy truth, okay, that means you are getting the whole. Anytime anybody put holy in there, it means something.
Yeah.
Okay, you are getting everything, the nitty gritty, everything. Once they put that word holy, and he did mention it, the holy truth.
Yeah.
Okay, and he did not disappoint.
Yeah, Shorty says, Harry's history with his 2 ex will always be part of his history. They went through a rough part of him growing up. The ex's 9 years total is long. All of them will be in his timeline. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see some more comments.
Yeah. And I respect Meghan too for acknowledging that as well too.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And they were at his wedding. So, I love that. I love that they've kept those, relationships. Let's see. Cynthia Ashton says, I think that whenever they made any decision concerning Harry's well-being, all had ulterior motives. Harry was always portrayed as the one who is the spare. Absolutely. Let's see some more. Absolutely. Let's see.
Petal, I wanted to ask you a question because
yeah, sure.
I was listening to the podcast yesterday, and you were mentioning about the interview that he did with Brianna
Gordon. Yes,
that's right. You were mentioning about the interview he did with her, and you were saying that there was a point where he said that he can't wait until his family is free of of this.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And what I understand with that part of it, because I know you mentioned it's about his immediate family, but what I understand of that part of it when I read it is that he was talking about his family, meaning his brother and father, and like the rest of that family, that he can't wait until they're free of like the tabloids and the
press,
and the men in gray, and those people that runs that institution. That's the part that I didn't think he was thinking of talking about himself and his immediate family, like Meghan and the kids, because to him, they are free.
Right.
So yeah. So my gathering is he was talking about the rest of his family, that they're free of the tabloids. They're free, because this is what he's basically trying to help them with, to be free of
Right.
them, that and to see how him and Meghan is running their life, and they don't have to have these men in gray and all these people. They are running their organization without these people.
Right.
They don't need these people around them, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
what
know,
I
it's so
gathered
funny.
from that.
Yeah, someone in the regular comments had mentioned the same thing to me. I read it differently, in the sense of within the paragraph, he was talking,
Mm-hmm.
he started talking about how how horrible, how dark and how basically
Mm-hmm.
wicked the institution is. And then he said, I cannot wait. And I forgot exactly what he said, but like, I cannot wait until my family is not part of it. So I could have just read it
Yeah.
wrong. I totally understand.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw it very, very differently. So, but
Yeah.
go on. Let's
Petal, can I
see
say
a
something?
couple more people before
Petal,
I'm sorry.
I have to unfortunately go, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for holding this space open, and I've so enjoyed talking with everybody and participating. So, and thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Cal. Thank you so much for coming on and lending your time. I know I took up so much of your time, but I appreciate you coming on and hanging with us and going and just chatting with us. I know we're going to be ending shortly. But thank you, thank you, thank you, my love. And hopefully next time we do that, all of you all could come on and we can be doing this together again. But I have one question. Well, actually, hang on. Let's see something. No, let's get you back in there. You poor thing. You keep getting cut
I
off. I don't
know.
know why.
I don't
So
know why either.
I'm so sorry. Let's see. Cynthia says, I think that whenever they made decision. Oh, wait. I think we looked at that before. But I have one question I wanted to ask is you're like overriding, like if you were, you're giving a review of Spare, what would your review be? What would be the thing that would be like, if you're recommending this to someone and this is why they need to read this book, this is what they'll get out of it, what for you, and each of you can share like what your thoughts are. If you want to start, Karen, and then Karen M, and then Karen M, Nanau, and then Karen W.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I was typing.
No, I was just saying like an overall, because like I think of, thinking in terms of a reviewing, like a review of the book. If you were to recommend it to someone, what would be the thing that you would be like, oh my gosh, you need to read this book because?
To be honest, I can't answer that because I haven't finished reading the book.
Oh, okay. No, thank you for your honesty. No. Yeah,
I got my book.
But so
I got my book about 4 days ago. So, and I do like you. I read front, back, middle, start over.
No, like I told you, like my mom is the same way. And today I was actually thinking, like, Pella, why do you do that? And I realized it was because they used to call me a bookworm back home, when I was a kid, because my head was always buried in a book. And what happened, why I started doing that is I used to read a lot of V.C. Andrews' book, and those were like those flowers in the attic kind of books. And you know how terrifying those books are. So I always read the back to make sure all my favorite characters are alive. And then if they were alive, then I'd go read them.
Yep, that's me. That's me. I always start at the end. I always start at the end to see if the people that I want survive. If they don't survive, I don't read it.
Yes, because it's so traumatizing for you to read a whole book and then they'll die in the end or something.
And I hate cliffhangers. I hate them.
Yeah.
I'll wait till they finish the series and then read the whole thing. But one word I would say is enlightening.
The same thing. I
yeah, for
literally
me,
found out a couple of weeks ago. My mom does the same exact thing.
Yeah, but one word I would say for what I've read is enlightening.
Mm-hmm.
There are things in there that the tabloids had said, and they debunked that real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Okay.
like they kept insisting that Megan had to have Googled him. And she quickly says, no, I'd rather know what they think of themselves than what other people think of them. And
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen M. And how about you, Nanau?
Oh, I thought it was, I mean, if you really want to know about Harry, you should read that book, not from what the tabloids or the other books. But
Exactly.
if you really want to know the real person, you should read that book. I mean, warts and all was kind of included in it. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an excellent read. It really held my attention. As a matter of fact, I stayed up one whole night listening, especially the very he did the narration. I was up all night long from start to finish listening to that book. I could not turn it off. It really holds your attention. So
Right.
I highly recommend it. If you really want to know the truth about his life, you should read his book in his words.
Right. Wow. Thank you so much, Nanau. And how about you, Karen W?
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And from the time it came out, and I read the first, the first part of it, the first paragraph of it, I I was like lost. I did the same thing. I also ordered the Audible, and I
Mm-hmm.
did the same thing. I went right through the night, and I couldn't put it away. I really couldn't put it away, and I'm still going over it again. Now I'm reading. Now I gone back to reading the book, and I'm still doing the both. But
Mm-hmm.
I find it was very, very educational, and I would
Mm-hmm.
use it in any educational form. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is for anyone whose life has been like this, who are going through the same kind of adversities, whatever it is that you're going through in your life. This book would help you. This book is the truth of this man's life from his mouth, from his words. And you have to read it. The tabloids has no place in this. The press has no place in this. Anything that you were getting from there, it's all lies. But this guy, this book, you need to like. I'm going to be ordering like 4 more of these books. My mom is going home to Guyana tomorrow, and I'm sending 2 with her to go to send to put in the libraries there.
Mm-hmm.
And my one for my aunt, and my mom also wants one to take with her so that she listened to the audio, but she also wants to read it while she's there. So,
Wow.
and I've gotten so many people into reading it. It's a good read. It's not one of those, like people would say it would be, it's not going to be a good read. It just captures you, and you just want more and more
And
and
more.
more of it.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I find it is very, very educational for anyone in the army, anyone who's going through any trauma in their life. Read it. It will help you to get through whatever it is that
yeah.
you're going through. Read it.
Thank
Very educational.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm gonna go and just do a few of our friends in the chat, but I just want to say thank you for taking the time
And
to
I
come
have to
on
tell you,
and be in our
I just
round
rushed home.
table.
I just rushed home. I was on the road, and I know you were coming. I went out, and I was supposed to do a couple of things, and I said I'm going to get back before petrol. And the time was going, and it was taking long. I dropped what I was doing. I rushed home, and I
You
said I have to go
ran.
catch back.
Well, I am so glad that you were able to catch it and be here and come on. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you for
We'll figure out when we'll do another book club or you'll do another book. And but I just appreciate you
I
guys.
really like
Karen
it. I
M,
really like
Cal,
this
Karen
forum.
W, Nanau, and Lottie. Poor
Yeah,
Lottie was trying to get
yeah,
on and wasn't able to, but thank you all so
yeah,
much.
thank you
And
for
I go talk to you
yeah.
guys next time.
I really
Thank
enjoy
you
your
very
show.
much. And I really like
Oh,
this
you're
forum. It was really
welcome,
nice.
ladies.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, thank you, ladies. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I just so appreciate it. But I'm just gonna stay here and I'm just gonna take a few of you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for staying and hanging out. And this has been so wonderful to be able to get so much stuff out of Spare. I'm just gonna, let's see. Black Queen says the book will be banned from all libraries in Florida. The Satan, oh my goodness, don't want anything supporting anything mentioning Black struggle. Florida is, I can't even. I just literally just can't even with Florida. It just, I can't even. Diane says Spare draws you in, and I got to concluding pages. I found I wanted more. Oh, okay. I brought another copy with Sam at Sam's this morning and donated it to the library. Well, thank you so much. I know there are so many people at libraries they have these long waiting lists to be able to read Spare. But yeah, it's so true that and Karen was talking about it too. It's like if you're in the military, if you've gone through mental or at least having mental health struggles, this is such a great book to see someone who is and was in the same boat and have struggled through and and is overcoming. So which is really great. Compton Caligal says William needs to keep his hands to himself, just like his son Louis. Yes, he does. And again, William needs help. And unfortunately, at the moment, he doesn't think he needs it, in spite of him going and telling everybody else that they do. He doesn't think he needs it. And it's just like, it's very clear he needs it. J-Matt says, my takeaway is the way he lives I'm assuming loves his wife. He gave up his family, the entire monarch for her. This book is about a family in crisis. So that's J Matt's takeaway from that, the way he loves his wife. And let's see. Church Nelly says, she's talking to Catherine. Yes, believe it or not, weed is better than medicine. And a lot of people take it for medicinal purposes. And Lydia, I would never get over Lydia's comment. She's like, I was trying to protect him from Snoop Dogg. And here's Harry smoking joint. I mean, it's legal. It's legal in California. It's also legal in New York. You have like this weed truck that just parks on the street and just be there. They're just there selling weed. It's very interesting. There are, a few states, many states in the U.S. now that it is legal. So California is one of those states. Let's see. Karen says, I couldn't believe that Harry had some warm feelings of his father before Diana died. Yeah, it's his dad. I'm always with this, that it's family relationships are complicated. It is just very, very, very complicated. Because it's even now it's kind of like the feelings were like, Harry, just leave these people, they're toxic, just get rid of them, just cut them out of your life. But again, the heart wants what it wants, and the heart wants the love, and what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? It's just, again, the heart wants what it wants, and his heart wants his family's love. And maybe he'll get to a place where he doesn't need it anymore or feels like he needs it, but he's obviously not there right now. So yeah. Let's see, a couple more that I didn't get. Church Nelly says, abuse victims need to read Spare. I believe that is very true. Definitely very true. And again, abuse comes in many forms. And so Harry, you've been through a lot. These physical, mental, emotional, so much abuse in so many ways. And so, yeah, I definitely agree with that. See a couple more. Diane says next volume should be Dare. Ooh. Yes, Diane. I mean, again, he did say his book was 800 pages and it whittled down to 400 and something. So he has enough for another book. So yeah, Dare. Ooh, I love it. I see. That's why I love the Squatties. Anne-Marie Bethel. Hi, Anne-Marie Bethel. Anne-Marie says, I like it, what he said about the other girl. They were nice, but his soulmate, it was the captain of his soul capturing his love, Meghan. Yeah, and again, look, I'm always of the mindset, if you are in a relationship with a guy and he is speaking badly about his, former relationships. I mean, yeah, if it broke up in a bad situation, yeah, you could speak about the situation. But if they are running down and really maligning other women in their life, be very careful. Be very, very careful. I always look at, for me, what would be most important to me is how that man treats his mother, how he treats his sister, how he treats his co-workers, even how they treat, waitresses at restaurants, how they treat other women is very, very important, because it speaks volumes to how they will treat you and how they will speak of you. And God forbid y'all break up, how he would speak of you, if you all break up. So those are very, very important. So for me, I was very, very impressed about how loving he spoke about each woman and his relationship with them. And again, Meghan has nothing to worry, and she has nothing to worry about, because one of the things I love is, and I loved it so much, it's like, so much did I love this book that I literally fell in love with the acknowledgments that he did. And this is the acknowledgement, part of the acknowledgement, where he acknowledged like a gazillion people, including Nacho and Oprah and Tyler Perry and all of those. He introduced, Mike and Tej and all of his friends and all of those people. But this is his family. It says, for the acknowledgments, it says, stand out thanks to my mother's siblings for their love, support, time, and perspective. And that's Princess Diana's, the Spencer side of his family. Notice he didn't thank anybody on the Windsor side. And he also says, above all, my deepest and adoringest thanks to Archie and Lily for letting Papa go off to read and think and reflect, to my mother-in-law, aka Grandma, and to my incredible wife for too many millions of gifts and sacrifices, great and small, to ever enumerate. Love of my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This book would have been impossible, logistically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, without you. Most things would be impossible without you. And to you, the reader, thank you for wanting to know my story in my words. I am so grateful to be able to share it thus far. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this. I've never sat there and reread an acknowledgement in my entire life. I don't think I ever paid attention to people's acknowledgments, because in my mind, I don't even know any of these people. But I don't know people's acknowledgments because, again, I never really read it. But this to me is so beautiful. It's like the most beautiful acknowledgement. It's like, oh my gosh, oh, love of my life. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This book would have been impossible logistically, physically, emotionally, spiritually without you. Most things would be impossible without you. Oh, how beautiful is that? How absolutely beautiful is that? I am just like, Harry, I'm telling you, you are. And those people who, hating Meghan because they want Harry, I'll be like, even the acknowledgement. You can't even read the acknowledgement without him gushing about his wife. It just, it's it's amazing. So I absolutely love it. Nana, thank you so much. Not only did you give all your time, thank you for your super sticker. I appreciate it so very much. thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Oh my gosh, for like over 2 hours. Wow. Thank you. Thank you to our awesome moderators, Lydia, Churchnelli, Karen M, Cookies and Cream. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all so much for keeping our space wonderful and safe. Again, thank you to our wonderful friends, our community that came on and called in. I appreciate you guys making our book club, which I hope we could do regularly. We could, since we're all finished reading Spare now, I'm sure there are other things that we'll talk about in our regular podcast, but maybe we could pick another book and we can do another book club. And if we want to stay in the royal theme and pick another book that, not from these horrible royal reporters, but something that could possibly maybe be interesting, that we can learn more and get deeper into the workings of the royal family, or something completely different. Either way, but suggestions would be great. I would love to continue our book club, get us out of the regular and expand our minds and horizons a bit more. So that would be great. But thank you guys so much. Thank you to our wonderful, wonderful 2 Cents crew who support the channel. Let me move that. Support the channel on a monthly basis. Thank you guys so much because again, kindness of your heart. And thank you to our new 2 Cents crew, Black Queen, Lorna Williams, Maureen Reed, R.R. Carter, Kalo 50, and of course Lydia joining in again. Thank you guys so much for joining our 2 Cents crew. And again, you didn't have to do this. Out of the kindness of your heart, you are supporting this channel, and I am so grateful, and I appreciate you so much for doing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also to all of our wonderful squaddies, I'm going to move this banner so you can see all of them who have supporting it. As we've seen here in the chat, either super chat, super stickers, donation, super thanks, PayPal, Cash App, merchandise, any of those things. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel again out of the kindness of your heart. I appreciate it. So thank you all so very much. And yes, I will not be on tomorrow. I am off. I am be photographing a music video tomorrow, so I will not be in. I'll be out of the city tomorrow doing that. So, but I will be back on Monday, and we shall chat on Monday. So I'm sure we'll still be talking about Spare, which is doing fantastic. Breaking records all over the place. #1 best New York Times bestseller, #1 New York Times bestseller, all of that wonderful stuff. So that is all happening. Lift the Lead is all doing well. Harry and Meghan docu-series is still top 10 in quite, I think, 18 countries. I mean, everything that they have touched are doing great. So our faves are doing wonderful. Just keep them in your prayers while they hang out under a tree in Montecito. But thank you guys again so much. Again, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, click the notification bell so that you know when we drop a video. And again, if you're able to, join our channel. Join our channel so that way, you can get some perks. And then you also support the channel on a monthly basis if you're able. If you're not, please don't worry about it. But thank you so much for all of you who have. So again, thank you guys. Have a fantastic, fantastic weekend. And I will chat with you on Monday. Love you. Bye.